Hello, Potato Bot. Might be hacking? Who, you or me? Hold up. Hello, Cushy. I'm messaging my mother. Hello, Kazoots. Hello, Riddell. Gonna meet all of Misumaru's balls? That's a lot of balls to meet. No, he did not expect that from you today, yeah. Dog Reimu has balls too, but not as much as Misumaru. In fact, Reimu in all three of the Versus games have balls. Udolig, POFV, and PODD. Sorry, there's the stuff I had to. I said hi. I hope she. I'll tell my mom. I lied. I'm not gonna tell my mom that you said hi. Sorry, I messaged her about weather and baby shenanigans because my older sister just had her third baby earlier today. Like an hour or two ago. So there's baby shenanigans, but also there's Sonic on the screen. Oop. You babies. Mods, get this man out back and lock him in the box. Never mind 3. Well, here's the more important thing, okay? Her first 2 she had within a year of each other. And this one is only like a year and a half to 2 years. It's been a little bit since she had her second, but not that long. Like, my younger sister had a baby back in the fall, and she said that like, she's not opposed to having more, but like not 3 within like 4 years. Crazy concept, I know. But more importantly, I was also messaging my mom about severe weather shenanigans. You see, it's kind of wild right now because so far this May, the U.S. is extraordinarily below average in terms of recorded tornadoes for this month, which is on average the most, by far, the most active month of the year. But We got multiple days of potential severe weather coming up soon. That, from a livelihood standpoint, is tragic. But from a standpoint of someone who likes to observe weather, is fascinating. Doesn't appear to be anything too extreme, but we might get, but who knows? How do you know that? Know that about what? You taste divine. Tastes like veal. How are you tasting yourself? I shouldn't ask that question. I think part of that's also because it's been cold, or not particularly warm for most of May so far. But right now, this is the warmest day all year, and you know what? That's from where I live, and you know what? It's like mid-70s Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit, you know, not Celsius. Do the translation yourself, people. I know something like 2/3, like somewhere between half and 2/3, I think. Might be, it's around 2/3, I think. People here are not Americans. It's like half to 2/3 are not Americans. So if you don't use Fahrenheit, you can do the translation yourself. I'm not doing this here. You see, you must be on fire. But, like, because, like, if it's 75 where I am, that means in a lot of the prone severe weather parts, you know, we're probably looking at, like, 90s, 80s, and 90s warming the atmosphere. And so that's looking at some potential severe stuff going on. See, it kind of sucks being someone who really likes severe weather. Because on one hand, it's fascinating. I love that. But on the other hand, it's like I can't cheer for it because, like, it kills people. Like hurricanes, tornadoes, derachos, or whatever, however you pronounce it. So it's like, on one hand, I love to see it happen. But on the other hand, I can't, like, cheer for it. Otherwise, I'm, like, a terrible person, right? Kills people and/or destroys a lot of things. What do you think the weather looks like in Gensokyo? Touhou, like, I keep fucking saying Touhou. Gensokyo obviously can't get hurricanes. There's no, like, ocean or, like, giant sea, but... Think Gensokyo ever gets, like, tornadoes? What's the biggest body of water in Gensokyo? That's so far canon. You know, this is until fucking, you know, Touhou 24 when he comes out with the Great Lake of, Coochie Falls. That gets introduced out of nowhere, and then everyone pretends like it's existed for 17 years. Misty Lake. I think you have some control over it. Where my shrine is. I mean, we know there's at least some water there. Well, here's an interesting question though. In canon Touhou, Does it rain? Like, there are instances of it raining, right? Yeah, very funny. Like, it rains at the start of this game. Now that I think about it, which is peculiar. Because theoretically, there isn't really a whole lot of, like, from a meteorology's perspective and a geography perspective, where does the rain come from? Where does the moisture come from? Is there like yokai who are like fueling the skies? That was a questionable way to dodge that wave. Because, like, generally needs to get, like, picked up from somewhere. And from my knowledge about, like, the Misty Lake I really don't think that's creating, like, that much, right? Lotus Eater chapters, Rainbow and Sinai sell lightning charms. Oh, of course, they're trying to profit off of human village gullibleness. Is there ever canonical lightning and thunderstorms in Touhou? That's another good question. Ooh. In that chapter. Okay, second question. Is there ever any canonical hail that has ever been seen in Touhou? When I make my Gensokyo news, I gotta be up on the topography of Gensokyo. Watch out, the human village was destroyed by a lightning strike. Kenji can control the weather to some degree, right? Balls. Listen, you gotta go one step at a time. Like, so an interesting question in regards to Tenchi. Because she can create, if she like do some effects to weather, what's the extent? Can she make tornadoes or something? But she can control lightning herself. That's true. That's fair. Not Tenchi. I don't know. I've seen places that claim that Tenchi is the one who can control the weather. So here's an interesting thought then. Do you think that the weather inside Benji can't know, yeah. Do you think that the weather in Gensokyo is related to the weather outside of Gensokyo? Because Gensokyo is technically on Earth. It's just like because of the supposed boundary. You know, it's separated, you know, Earth, but like it still is Earth, right? It's just like the only thing that separates it from like the rest of like the world is the Great Hot Gray Barrier. Because theoretically, it's very improbable that like that thunderstorms could form in Gensokyo. And also because of how things work, like things generally like flow, right? And Gensokyo is not like giant. Like the weather can't just be doing a fucking loop in Gensokyo. It's not it's very likely not going in a fucking circle. So that would lean to imply that it can like go through in and out. Either that or fucking Yukari's gapping in fucking like storms. She's like, hey, this is gonna be funny. Yeah, even with Hiso on the shorter Hiso, she would still probably be able to manipulate all three of Sky, Earth, and People. Sora Hiso has the power of the Sky and People. Hiso has power to Earth. That's the earthquake shenanigans. I know that. Sora Hiso's ability to manipulate weather. Stop thinking that's what you start thinking about logically. Yeah, don't let yourself be held back by content and stuff. Yeah. But realistically, that the answer would be like one of three like things, right? Either like weather outside of Gensokyo would be like in some degree of like passes into Gensokyo, right? B, the weather in Gensokyo is entirely dictated by people creating it, or like, you know, yokai or such creating it with their powers. Or C, someone like Yukari or fucking Okina or some shit is like somehow bringing it into Gensokyo themselves, which is kind of related to one, but it's kind of related to both. No, it's kind of related to two, excuse me, but it's a little different in its own right. Though, because she acts after SWR, bratty kid that doesn't listen. I mean, she kind of acts like that in Starlight Weather Rhapsody, right? If Okina's watching every event at USD, or at least knew about it. I mean, I assume she would know about it, right? Touhou kind of tends to do that with things, where it's like they kind of like retcon things after the fact in that regard, where they introduce like new things. Not that I think that, like, Touhou's stupid because of that, like, he does that type of thing. I think that's fine. Like, can she express the Shion, though? And then she wrote, and then, Nightmare, or Dream World Tenchi rode on the giant catfish to try to destroy all of the world. I don't think, I mean, the catfish is real in the sense that it was pulled from the dream world, I assume. It's kind of hard to know for sure, right? Because like, Anatomy of Coneflowers doesn't really explain the catfish's appearance there, it just appears. But because of the fact that it's likely kind of based on the fact that it appeared in Mei Ling's dreams and then got pulled from the dream world. Because they have in the real world, yeah. There's the real catfish, probably sealed in the lunar capital for all we know. Okay, he was working with all the incidents. So I'm gonna choose to believe that, because Yukari was one of the people who formed the hot. Is it known if the other sages were also involved in the formation of the Great Hawk-Ray Barrier? Because Yukari was, we know that. Remember correctly they are? And before Game Butcher comes in and be like, So if you think of the 5 string, appreciate it. So I would lean to believe that, because everywhere in Gensokyo was, like, in the real world at some point, right? And then they end up in Gensokyo. Either when Gensokyo was made, or at some point they passed into fantasy, and then therefore entered Gensokyo. Ooh, you slut. So I would lean to believe that with the magic powers that be, that the Great Hakure Barrier kind of allows weather through in some degree from the outside world. Or is at least relate to it in some degree. Because you kind of need to in order to keep consistent with the seasons, which we know the seasons pass normally. And because if there's no weather, if the weather doesn't if you can't have the natural formation of things like rain and shit, then you kind of are in a bad spot. Then you just kind of have a drought and the sea lake dries up and there's no moisture ever in Gensokyo. Unless you gap it all in. It would make logical sense to have weather forming from the outside. There's 4 great Onis, we've only ever seen 3. 4 great Tengu, we've only ever seen 1. Yes, there is 4 sages. I thought there was like a confirmed that there's 4 sages, and we know 3 at this point, right? Because the Great Oni are Yugi, Suika, and... Is Cassette one of the Great Oni? Because she's also a sage. Is she a Great Oni as well? Yeah, she is. Great Tengu. Does the 4 Great Tengu include the big one himself, or is he on an echelon higher, right? Because Megumu is a Great Tengu, but she's not the big guy. Then is a sage and a Great Oni. I'm pretty sure it's some dude, like, great yokai that is, like, the top of the echelon, if I'm not mistaken. Your theory is that... the Great Gensokyo we see in Touhou is a copy of the real one that's almost layered on top of each other as we see Yukari open a gap that shows a skinny skateboard in what is fancy. That's boring. I mean, that just really goes over my head. So, like, you just say words. Yeah, about a year and a half. Guess we get another spin-off before then. Full spins out with your ability. I mean, theoretically, Yukari can pull anything out, right? Jacker has a motorcycle. Yeah, but the motorcycle was fueled by the occult, right? Like the Yukari's trains is her gas, which is her innate, like, ability. But Byakuran's motorcycle was the occult, if I'm not mistaken. The Byakuran know motorcycle should steal for 1,000 years. Well, she probably, like, maybe the Tengu, like, delivered news to her. Like, here you go, news passed through the seal. Oh, I can read it. Also, maybe she learned about it afterwards. Maybe Ichirin was telling her about, yo, have you ever heard about this? Also, maybe she learned what it is because of the occult incident, because, like I said, I believe it was generated, like, it was generated because of the occult incident. Right? Like, Koishi's whole thing was phones, and kind of the whole thing about that was that, like, nobody in Gensokyo knows what a fucking phone is. Well, like, her thing had it involved. I really doubt Koishi before that knew what a phone was. So it would make sense that, like, with the occult power, she kind of, like, learned it via some various means with the occult, right? That would make some sense. Although, not everyone is as abruptly aware of their full ability, because Mocha wasn't aware of hers for a long while. So maybe it's just people piece things together based on what they got from their cult abilities, but because Mocha's was so similar to what like her normal power is, it didn't stand out to her, right? Isn't that her dream world self? Nowadays? Because the real her got into Gensokyo during Urban Legend. And I believe in like the end credits for like the final route, she mentions about her like her dream world self or something is still allowed there, or the assumptions. I forget the specifics. It's been a while. And then there's the event of 16.5, which is her dream world self, and like a bunch of just like whack crap. Yeah, I mean, like Kaneko literally is like creating nuclear fusion, right? Like, this isn't like a, oh, you know, that's literally a big part about her character. Still hate Kaneko? I mean, mods, get this man out of here. Kaneko's the go. I don't know what you're talking about. Kaneko is a certified shoddy. Why am I in Chinese? Is that Chinese or Japanese? I think that's Chinese. Doesn't look like Korean. How the fuck do I get back? What button is it? Think about Kaneko started the events? Yeah, but like, what about that? From 11 through 13? Yeah. Well, you could also say she started the events at 10 as well, right? Because that was, like, from the Mariah Shrine, like, you know, showing up. 11 was, you know, the Oku incident, which is kind of derived from her. It's not entirely Kaneko's doing, but it is a lot of Kaneko's doing. 12 is because of the spirits that escaped during the subterranean incident, because Orin, I believe, let the spirits out to let, like, the surface know of trouble, and then in those, it was the characters from that, and then the events of that directly led to the events of 13. How the fuck do I change out of my Chinese? What button is it? I didn't know. I can never remember. Fuck! Stop pressing enter. Fuck. What button is it? I can never remember what frickin' button it is. I swear, I press every fucking button on the keyboard. Alt 3. Okay, thank you. I just hit the 3. Need some of those balls? Unfortunately, yeah. But also, it's kind of hard to blame a lot of the events and shit from those directly on Kaneko's malicious intentions. Did Oku acquire Yatagarasu before, like... Was Kaneko the one who gave, like, somehow, in some form gave Yatagarasu to Oku? Or did she use Oku after she got Yatagarasu? She told her to eat the gag? Okay, yeah. Things that Ucho didn't listen for that. Yeah, well, yeah, because Oku is like, you know, bird brain. You know, pun intended, obviously. But like, Oku is not very smart, and she kind of just like went off after, you know, she ate that, right? Like that was the thing. Like she just kind of like went off on a rampage, like sort of a rampage afterwards, and that's why I believe it's Orin released the spirits released a bunch of spirits from the underworld to attract the attention from the surface, right? Get some people from the surface to come down and, like, take care of Oku, because Oku was going on, like, a rampage. Because nowadays, Oku is, like, acting fine, right? Like, we see this illustrated perfectly fine in the events of 17.5, where she's just monitoring the, where she's just kind of, like, you know, she's diligently, monitoring and protecting the nuclear reactor, right? With nuclear, like, plant. Thought that there was a bolt. Yeah, because again, the Oku stuff and then the spirits getting sent to the regular world, like is how like Shoen's stuff got out, and then they began their quest to try to revive Byakuya. And then they decided, let's plant our temple on the entrance to, like, the Divine Spirit Mausoleum or something, just to spite these punks. Just now, lore. We've been talking non-stop about lore for the past, like, 20 minutes, Game Glitchers. You're light. Game Glitcher, is there ever in canonical Touhou been an instance of hail? Did disservice to Oku. Raven's actually smart. I mean, I think Oku's a great character. I think her being a little bird brain is, like, perfectly fine, right? I think she's a very well-done character. She does make her dangerous against CDS when she possesses her. Yeah. Although, at the same time, like, you know, she possessed her in Change Detective Satori, and then Satori was in a coma again for the 20th time. Alice is still in a coma because she can never leave a coma because Alice is never going to do anything. That fill you in? Well, right now we're talking about Kaneko. Alice never goes outside her home. No, she did at least a little bit back in the old days. She hasn't in, like, the past, like, 15 years or so. And then she got sent to a coma anyway, so it's not like we'll ever see Alice again. Did anything with an IN? I mean, she was in Hiso Tensoku. Whether or not she was, like, super relevant, right? But, like, she was in Hiso Tensoku, and she created the Goliath doll there, right? So that, which ended up, you know, the Baka fought, so, like, that's involved. Also, despite the many incidents that formed directly or indirectly related, I have a hard time believing that Kaneko is the biggest thing that weather works in Tokyo. Yeah, we're talking about how weather works in Tokyo. powers. Well, here's the simple question, right, Game Glitcher? Because, in theory, weather shouldn't really be possible in Gensokyo. Like, it can't really, like, spawn up. Like, there's a large amount of reasons why, like, weather, like, is not really feasible in Gensokyo. Unless it's directly, unless, A, it's, like, directly created just by, like, yokai or people with powers, or it's, like, related in some way to the weather in the outside world, right? The regular world. Because Gensokyo is on Earth, it's just in its own little like, pocket dimension or something. Why wouldn't it? Where does it come? Where's the rainstorms come from? Where does the rain come from? Where's the bodies of water to add moisture in the air? And where's the low pressure systems that bring the weather in, or that move the weather around? There's no natural like, unless it's directly affected in some form from the outside world. How does the seasons change? How does weather get formed? Where's the rain come from? And rainstorms as a whole. The sea lake plus the river and the yokai mountain that feeds into it should supply enough water. That's not... They definitely do not provide enough water. Unless the Misty Lake is fucking huge. Unless it's huge. Which we know there's no sea in Gensokyo. So I have my strong doubts that it is enough to provide enough moisture. The Misty Lake is not providing the moisture to produce rain. To produce any significant rain at that. Plus, even if it can put water in the atmosphere, there's no... unless low pressure systems with the jet stream get pushed down from the North Pole, which is generally how everything in the Northern Hemisphere works, unless the jet stream, in some form or another, gets affected into Gensokyo and pushes weather in, there's nothing there. That's true. It's likely either goes along with the outside world. Well, my line of thinking was, either when the Great Hot Gray Barrier was created in some form of, magic powers, it was created to kind of, let it, have weather flow through it properly, in some form or another. Or B, it's the yokai, who are or yokai are people with other humans with powers that can create this, gods or whatever, that are the ones who regulate the weather in Gensokyo. Or, but that wouldn't really make sense as weather kind of surprises people in Gensokyo, right? That unless someone's stealing the seasons, in 16 or 7, 6, 7. It does flow normally. And people are get surprised sometimes with certain snowfall and rain and stuff. Didn't the fucking Great Fairy Tree get snowed in or something? At one point? I feel like I remember hearing about this, but I don't know off the top of my head. There's contribute to weather due to most of the season going haywire due to the fairies and non-natural. Well, it was due to the fairies based on Okina's power, right? Yeah, that's why I'm thinking, broadly, it's, broadly influenced from the outside world. Is the way I'm leaning towards it. Because, when Gensokyo was created, it, was effectively, sealed the certain parts that were from the outside world in there. And other places from the outside world get, spirited away into Gensokyo. We know that the whole Mariah Shrine as a whole got plopped into Gensokyo. That means they do influence it somewhat. Yeah, that's fair. And that can definitely be influenced to a degree about the seasons, but that still doesn't explain, weather systems. Right? Rain and such, and thunderstorms, especially thunderstorms. But we know lightning can happen in Gensokyo. So it's either a degree of, the outside world can affect it to some degree. It's the influence of every one of beings in Gensokyo, or it's some degree of all of the above. Like some combination of the two. I'd like to think Yukari's out there just like, you know, I'm in a bad mood. I'm gonna gap in a bunch of fucking thunderstorms. Yeah, because it's so finicky and it kind of just behaves to whatever the will of the moment is for like plot convenience almost. And obviously, there's no detailed answer to any of this in Touhou. Possible weather happens in Gensokyo because people forgot weather can't happen in closed spaces. Well, it depends on how high it goes, right? Because, like, if it, you know... Again, if there is no true ceiling in Gensokyo, that means it isn't a true enclosed space. Thus, here I am in all of my splendor. I'm gonna go die as a cat. I don't know if I'll go 2 hours on this. It is a Friday. But the boundary of fantasy, apparently going into the space just leads you into heaven. Really? Because I thought that... Does like them going to the moon involve them like leaving like space? Well, that'd also be weird because like the moon is real and you can see the moon in Gensokyo. So that would imply that there is some way of through space from Gensokyo. Like obviously there is the realm above that is heaven. In Gensokyo, we know that where Tenchi likes to sit and eat peaches. Well, Celestials like sit and eat peaches. Do you think the Celestial ever have, like, big orgies? To, like, keep themselves entertained? The same moon is in Earth? Yes! Well, because we know it's the same moon as in Earth, because, like, the Lunarians are about it, right? And that's why the moon got hid during the events of Imperishable Night, because the Lunarians are on that moon, and we know that that moon is related to the one with normal Earth, because of the first lunar war, when the humans went up to Earth and kind of fought with the rabbits, and that's when Racing deserted, right? Or, you know, you get the gist. Whether it could be the same as Earth. Makes sense, because, like, low tide and high tide also exist and are directly affected by the moon to a degree. So... Basically, what I'm trying to say is that I don't think Zune was a master meteorologist when he created Gensokyo back in, you know, the 90s or whatever. Or I guess technically that wasn't Gensokyo at the time, or at least it's not confirmed. You know, back in Scarlet Yellow, you know, confirmed no, it was Gensokyo. I don't think he was a meteorologist at the time and thought about the exact ways that his weather was going to work in his thing in order to make logical sense. Space with the rocky ground if you don't remember. Yeah, well, that is an interesting thing, because if going up just leads to heaven, or like, you know, what happens if you go above heaven? Can you go above heaven? And is that how you get to space? It's just like, you know, the realm between Earth and, like, space is heaven, right? That very well might be the case. Or the truth is an illusion. What if the entirety of Gensokyo is actually an illusion projected by Racing? And Racing is just too much of a silly rabbit girl to know that. To recognize her doing that. God, you think that was funny? I mean, the logical sense about it is that they're all, you know, they're all effectively forgotten in the regular world, so they pass in against Tokyo. But it is also funny that they do all this coma theory. I was thinking about making a coma theory joke, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Guys, do you think Pokemon is just like Ash is in a coma and it's all like a dream? Guys? Wait, that's just the plot of Chainsaw. I know it's not exactly the same. Also, Game Glitcher. Byakuren got her motorcycle from the occult incident, right? I just want to confirm based on another thing that was mentioned earlier. Ash is gone. He's dead. It's too late, Robot. I will remember you for as long as I live, so that you never can go enjoy Tengu 5. Yeah, I was just What if there's a Super Gensokyo for things that get forgotten about in Gensokyo? What if there's a Gensokyo backrooms? Guys, what if there's a Gensokyo backrooms? Three, two, one, zero. Yukari's house. They just end up at Yukari's house, and there's Rumio sitting there waiting to eat them. Dead. What if Gensokyo is actually my coma? What if me pretending that Gensokyo like might exist is actually me in the coma theory? Hold on. Gensokyo dead. There, Byron, you reach Yukari. I just need to understand some potential weather shenanigans in Touhou, so that when I make my Gensokyo News weather reports, Game Glitchers and me go, this can't possibly happen, Gensokyo. This is too great. This is wrong. He also sent Sakia to the moon. Well, the Roxy did. When a very roundabout sense, you can pretend to be targeted. Save for Remy. Remy is the go. And then Sakia and Remy made out. Okay, Yukari and Okina. Naked, oiled up. Who wins? Joe made a comment about how the people sent to the place were doomed to roam forever. So, Tina? Ooh, bold word, bold word. Ooh, we got some play. We got the debate going on. I have a nice score. Have teleportation powers? What does that have to do with who wins in the, the oiled up argument? We threw Kasen in. Kasen always loses this war. Come on. Like the Yukari and Okina, like. Who knows? Maybe Kasen has experience in the past, though. Actually, hold on. Now that I think about it, I was about to say Kasen is she has no experience in that. I was gonna say she's too much of a you shouldn't do the yada yada if your thoughts or whatever. You gotta become a hermit. But then I thought about it, I was like, maybe Kasen has experience of. Fuck! That bullet just came out of left field. But like, what if she has experience in the past? And maybe that skill, maybe she'll pull out the skill in this battle. Because I feel like she would like the idea of beating Yukari and Okina with this. Some visual representation. I need you to find me. Okay, Kaobot, I need you to find me some comparisons of them oiled up fighting. Like the who wins in the oiled up, conversation. Right, like who. Jarvis, generate me, Yukari, Okina, and Kasen, oiled up, and, declare me a winner. Sorry, this is the Wendy's drive-thru. Ride travel is both a special case and weird. You could just say that about anything in Touhou. Like you open the window, there's regular air and space, and they also never became weightless. The rock was a special case that there was a chimera. Wait, a chimera? Wait, like a chimera? Wait, that's weird. A chimera? Hold on, that's kind of interesting. Gaburu net has been down for about a week. I wouldn't know. I don't use Gaburu. Meant to remind some spells for Patchy, Travel God channeled by Raymond, the addition of Lunar Veil from Aranio. The power of plot convenience. Not that that's a bad thing. Listen, Teo, you can find something on Pixel, surely. Okay, fine. Let me jingle the keys and get PO Bomb Monsters. Okay, the 4 known Tengu oiled up. Who wins? Mega. Oh, I don't know if Mega wins. Oof. Like, honestly, I feel like it might be I could see any of the 4. Honestly. Like, Taters seems like the wild card. Like, I feel like Taters could just, like, be easily dead last, but, like, I feel like there's a chance she just comes out of nowhere and just has the unexpected, quote-unquote, information and skills and the technique. one artist has been cooking over the past few weeks. Well, are we talking explicit or just suggestive artists, or completely safe and not suggestive at all? Got arrows gonna stab Patchy. But very suggestive. Compare Yukari's personality to Okina's. Okina's better. Here's the thing. I think Okina could win in the oiled up debate, but she's really lazy. She sleeps around. Yeah, she does sleep around. If you know what I'm saying, she, you know, she might got that, you know. If you just post that Yukari emote again, Potato Bot, the one that you posted a little bit, not too long ago, just look. I'm just saying, based on that. There's also an emote. There's also an anime emote I'm familiar with that I'm not gonna put here because it's a little too on the line. That also makes me, you know, think something otherwise. I'm not saying Yukari would win, but I'm saying that there's an argument to be made about Yukari. Also, Yukari just try to see, Yukari well known to play very, very hip and try to appear younger and stuff, and you know that just take Sage posting when you have the chance. Let me fight this cat first. Game Glitcher, what are your thoughts on this war debate? Oiled up with the three sages we know so far. Who wins? I'm gonna finish this fight. I think she's gonna run Shigami. So she can do her job. Yeah, so she can do her job, and then she can, you know, get a little wild. You know what I'm saying? Let's just do like a buzzkill so she loses by default. I was saying I think she loses by default, but I did say that because of past, you know, old Kasen, past Kasen, you know, the deeds she did before, she might have that experience. I don't think so, but she might be the black horse. Is that the term, black horse? I see. I love that Squirter image. I was thinking about saying that one as a meme yesterday. I was like, no one's gonna know that image off the top of their head. Hold on, let me see if I can't find this Okina emote, or this Yukari emote I was thinking of. Fuck, let me just find what the emote is called. I surely can find it. So I think I can cheese this. Hold up. Uh. Bunch of people. Where is it? Oh no, it's a fucking sticker, isn't it? Fuck, I forgot that there's a difference between emotes and stickers. Oh, that's a Reimu armpit one. Is it not a stick? I swear. Oh, wait. Oh, but that's not the sticker I was thinking of. A different one. There's the one with Tenchi and the tambourines. That's Momiji throwing it back. Fuck. They're not here? already have that Yukari wheelchair emote. I know the video version of Border of Ecstasy. I'm not familiar with it just based off of a name. Damn it, I'll have to look for it later. Someone remind me when I'm not streaming. I'll look for it. Does being lazy. I mean, that's why I said she makes Ron do the work so she can. What are you looking for? I was looking for a GIF of Yukari with a very, you know, very shaking it. Okay. Hello, Light General. That's what I'm saying is a very strong possibility. You know, Riddell literally said it that Riddell sleeps around. Yo, she might not be, but I'm just saying it's not a zero possibility. Zero. Okay, Light General. Oops. The 3 sages oiled up. Who wins? Unfortunately, this is a late stream because that means Alan's not here to give his input. 5 nights at Diddy's Island. Well, I did have the thought. Do you ever think that like the fairies get together and try to play like 5 nights at Reimu's? Like they have this challenge where effectively they try to spend 5 nights in a row at Reimu's without Reimu catching them. Peanut pork with this slide over a wheelchair. That's the best answer you could give. Probably, I know. I was thinking that sounds like a game. That sounds like a game they would make. Also, Game Glitcher, can you give me confirmation on whether or not the Great Fairy Tree, or whatever it's called, got snowed in at one point? Because I feel like I remember hearing it. I feel like I remember this being a thing at some point. It comes this earlier, but I didn't get any confirmation about it. There we go. You don't read the manga. You only read fucking the Touhou versus power, you know, scaling wiki, and that's how you get all your Touhou lore from. You claim to be a lore expert, and then all of it's just from the fucking versus wiki. The Sengetsu. Okay. Yeah, but you can confirm it was a thing, okay. Also, what did the 3 Bakas do in their own, like, manga? Is it just them, like, getting up to mischief and stuff? first copy of Viv's, and it's not that one. What's Viv's? Violet Field is sussy? Like, basically? Okay. So it's just them, like, doing shit. It's just them, like, being fairy pranksters and just shit. Maybe I'll have to read it. Visionary Fairies and Shrine. We're fucking making up names at this point. Look for Alice Kumar with Alice's friends to kill them. It's nothing new. Also, Alice? Who's that? Is that Touhou character? I've only played the last 10 games. I don't know who this character is. Also, is Satori still in a coma? Is she still, or I guess, knocked out? I don't think she was in a coma. Is Satori still unconscious in the last chapter of CDS? No? Okay. Oh, she woke up? So she's actually, like, doing something? For a while? Okay. Fuck, dude, at this midnight, I was doing so good at this midnight for a hot while, and then I just sucked at it the last handful of days. Eren excluded is the most likely to kill people in Ginsoku. I wouldn't even say Eren's number one. I think there are a number of characters that would go above Eren. Like, Game Glitcher looked at one... Fuck me. Game Glitcher looked at one image of Eren with a knife and it was like, Eren is a serial killer. She's the scariest Touhou character of all time. Hard to pronounce. Yeah, but that doesn't mean, like, modern Eren is gonna, like, start stabbing people. Is the other thing, right? Like, when was the last time Eren killed someone? Right? Because just because Moko killed a bunch of people doesn't necessarily mean she's the most prone to killing someone right now. She could have drugged people? Okay, anyone could have killed anyone then. Fucking most likely kill someone. I don't know, Rumia? Rumia might eat people. Okay. You gotta type the emo properly so it pops up. Game Glitcher would be the type to, like, be dating a girl and be like, I can't date this girl any longer. There's a 0.0001% chance she might stab me in my sleep. I'm gonna have to break up with her. Thank you, Light General, for posting the actual email. Surprised Game Glitcher even interacts online. Oh, there's a chance someone will, like, hack into me and dox me, and then I'd be an actual date. Ooh, I can't be online, guys. Actually, I wouldn't have my time, but he's not scared of men. He's only scared of girls. Maybe Game Glitcher just needs some Mary Renault skin. Maybe that's the answer. Wow, that was a micro. don't want to know. Are you saying you don't want to know to be ominous and, like, you know, vague posting? I hate the fucking... I should not use that term. I apologize for using that term. To be ominous, or because the fucking last chapter of CDS was her, you know, shanking a man who owed her like 10 pennies, and then she shanked him. Questions? Okay. You know, I was about to say, I feel like there are more characters in just like a lot more characters in Mike and Tokyo that are more likely to kill someone than Aaron. And then I remembered that Reimu literally killed the fortune teller. That's something for the greater good, though. I mean, you could claim anything for the... You would claim you did anything for the greater good. A lot of warlords throughout human history have claimed they're doing something for the greater good. He was a man, though. Oh, of course, I'm sorry. Killing men is fine. Killing girls. Game Glitcher be like, oh, I can't marry Reimu. What if I start coughing one night, and she thinks I'm trying to yokai and stabs me? What if the next chapter of Cheating Detective Satori starts up and it's just Renosuke and Reimu making out? First panel. And it's sloppy. Okay. Renosuke versus Yukari. Oiled up. Who wins? Alright, let's take vectors. Yeah. Alright, 1000%. I don't know. Have you seen my go in like Touhou soccer, dude? Hold up a second. You've got it. She always goes left here. We have to choose to rely on confirmation bias and nothing else. You would have him calling for his mommy? Yeah, her. A quarter after 8. Yo, what that mouth do, though? Probably eat food. Eek! Yeah, I went way too fast for the left wall. It started a little far to the right, though, too. I love this stage. It is so much fun how I haven't even played against Sanyo a single time yet today. I likely will not hear because green spam with 3.0 power is porkalicious. Like this section wasn't bad enough already. Maybe I should do the corner strat if I'm at 3.0. I'm gonna die anyway. If I die to anything before green spam, maybe I should just fucking reset at that point. I feel like I might have remembered what the name of the emote is. There'd be no progress because it's late. I mean, I have had really good Fridays before. It's just I'm definitely not feeling it today. Hold on, it's like Egg Shaker or something. Like, I can't, like, copy it properly. Damn, that's a shame. I also drank my caffeine earlier, but, I don't know if I drank it at the wrong time or something. I definitely don't feel hyped up. Probably just because I haven't gotten, like, particularly great sleep this week. It started off rough. It's been okay the past couple of days. It hasn't been, like, great. I keep waking up in the middle of the night. It's been peculiar this week. I guess now that I think of it, I've done it multiple times this week. Like, it was both Monday night, Wednesday night, and last night. I woke up at something in the middle of the night. Like, when I don't usually. Like, sometimes I wake up, like, 10 minutes before my alarm or something, but, like, I'm not considering that waking up in the middle of the night. Like, waking up and you, like, glance at the clock, it's like 4 o'clock. It's like, why am I waking up now? Like, normally, if I go to bed, like, 10 minutes later than, like my quote-unquote optimal time, it's, like, not, it doesn't really matter, but it does add up when you lose an additional, like, half hour, and you just, like, wake up at 4 in the morning. I do get to sleep in tonight, though. You get to have a, quote-unquote, sleepy Moko fight. Not sloppy, sleepy. I get to sleep in. What that note to? Okay, Satori and Koishi oiled up. Who is? Bro, oh, I'm sorry. That's too far. I'm sorry. Let me talk about the real conversations. Let's go. Seki Banki versus Goku Power Scale. Who's gonna win in that fight? Your time exhaustion after 30 seconds. You're nuts? That's kinda weird. What are the odds I'll beat Moko later in a timely manner? I deserve that. Amply complaining about her going left there every time because I did kind of just like let her do that. That was not good. Win oiled up Notori or Takane? Ooh. I'm gonna say Takane is my go-to. Is my that's where my brain's initially taking me. I could be convinced otherwise. Fucking, oh my gosh, this stage is so dog. I didn't even see that bullet. Can't wait for another 3.0 power green section. Rainbow or Slug? Oh, that's obviously the Slug. Aya or Tatade? I mean, I initially said all the Tengu as a whole, the 4 of them, the 4 known Tengu who wins, and I'm not sure. I said Hatade, like, seems like maybe not, but I feel like Hatade's a big wild card. It's this stage is so fucking brutal. I'm starting to hate this stage way more than stage 4. Your girl's good at being oiled. I mean, here's the thing. Okay, how much of a closeted gooner is she? Okay, I've seen some of the pictures. Or so I've been told. Damn, sometimes you're just not even close to 4 waving with 3.0 power, and sometimes you easily clear it. This game is so fucking brutal. Do the stage is stage 3 or DDC stage 3? Well, DDC stage 3 isn't fucking ass. It's Kagero that's ass. Like, my problem right now isn't fucking Sanyo. It's the fucking stage section. It's the blue section going to the mid-boss. It's the mid-non. It's the fucking Dacha green with the little piece of shit at the end. Go back and die Hydro Camo a few hundred times. Nah, there's nothing in this game I'm hating more than Hydro. Jimbo's at the top, but I've come around on Jimbo a fair bit. This stage 3, if your brain is not at full capacity, it's just so fucking dog shit. Like, you got that blue section with just the weirdest to read fucking angles. You got the mid-non, which is faster than anything that the main boss has going for it. That was also the one shooting, by the way. Then you got green spam, which... I don't necessarily know exactly how bad it is with the others, but Reimu struggles far more with it than anyone else. And if you're at 3.0 power for it, you're setting yourself up for disaster. And then there's that guy at the end who's annoying as fuck to read. Especially when there's the pressure mounted on after having done everything prior. Sanyo just hits you with the bait and switch, where, like, spell 1 sometimes is just gross, but, like, where you do the first 3 attacks and you're finally like, yes! I'm out of the hard part, and then, like, something on the last half just, like, throws a bad, like, curveball at you, and you're just like, well, that sucks. Like, I'm slowly coming around on stage 4. I'm liking stage 4 a lot. And Sanyo as a whole, I'm, like, enjoying a lot more, too. Misumaru, too. Even Suffocation. Just, gosh, fuck you, stage 3. Thank you, Cat. Let me turn my fan real quick. It's warm. I had the right line, but I moved way too much. Get box moment. Because you just, at some point, you gotta stop just doing runs. At some point, there's nothing to gain from them. Do you practice the most, or I practice? If it's me, it's probably gonna be Sanyo. But if you count individual attack, I wouldn't be surprised if Divine Orb would be on top. If you're counting it like just kind of a broader section, the answer is like very likely to be Sanyo. If I were to fathom, I guess. Unfortunately, you can't look at non-stats, but I can look at spell stats to help get a decent gauge as well. No, that would just be a cat final. That's just the weight you just don't want to see. What is? Problem is there are some spell cards that are really hard to exactly rank. Astonishing Kuma Magusa is at 2,700, while Divine Orb's only at 2,200. Also, the Thronging Crowds of Yuma is a little weird because non-2 caps go straight into that, and I believe they add one to the total despite the fact that they don't play it. Two-way Disaster, Beckon, and Fortune. That's actually only 746 on Cat Final. Kakane is not particularly too crazy there. This kind of shows you just kind of how like easy Takane is if you look at those cat rates. Now, Astonishing Kumagusa is slightly quicker than Divine Orbs. Okay, Suffocation's at 500 attempts, I'm kind of surprised. Divine Wouldn't Magic Butterfly Cappers like Force Sync is not too practiced. Yeah, so that really does skew my my Thronging Crowds probably a good bit. Although I'm surprised it's not higher. In all honesty. Down here. Yeah, Spell 2 doesn't see a lot. Spell 4 you see a lot of, or Spell 3 you see a lot of play with Megamoo. I almost have a Master on. Come out of Spell 1. Not there, but it's close. I think this alone tells you everything you need to know about where Sanyo lies on the list. And how much fucking Kuma Magusa is just a thorn. Also, a nice 160 hours. Although not all, that's right now. A vast majority of that is right now. Distracting Sanyo. Some would argue it's way more important than Misumaru is anyway. Again, not having Nons in here skews this, but the fact that this isn't even including Nons, which is... And when it comes down to Nons, I've also vastly done more Nons of Stage 3. Though I have more time doing Stage 4 stage practice than I do Stage 3 stage practice by, like, an infinity amount. I'm kind of surprised Kumagusa is that high, but it does make sense. Some of my non-1 rates do go over, do spill over to Kumagusa too. just need to man up and sucker this bot bug. See, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Probably better move on. That was revolting. Stark angle. That time it wasn't. Ooh, nice entrapment. See, that's the pain. The painful part about losing to Sanyo is when it's from the last half of the fight. Like, this attack is... You die to it, you know, you die to it. But it's the last half, that's where it really hurts. Because it is not as near... It is definitely not as bad. Depression. It's no different than my Chen depression, or my Alice, or my Prison River, or my Yogu depression, or my Yuki depression, or my Ori depression, or the Satori depression, or the Orin depression, or the Nitori depression, or the Minariko one, or the Hina one, or the Aya one, or the Momiji one. Not really the Senai one that much, although a little bit. Or the Kaneko one. No, it's just dying, you know. Dying is painful. Especially when it's easy to blame something else. Or to try to blame something else. Especially in a game like this one that's already hard enough as is, and like dying just completely kills your momentum like tenfold because of how bad the power loss is too. Like, that's one of the really more painful aspects of it. Like, 'cause there's already a momentum killer whenever you die in a run, but like 2.5 power, big deal. Well, it's actually 1.0 power. Like, you lose effectively, it's like 0.92 power every time you die, something like that. But, like, there are so many sections, especially stage sections, but even, like the bosses are hard enough as is, and being a power lower just extends that pain. But, like, there's, like, the stage sections really, really suffer with it. Like, you just... Reimu has a damage issue that oftentimes the homing can, like, help offset a little bit, but with something like green spam... like 0.5 power. It depends on the game, because something like like I just did Mountain of Faith and Subterranean. Those two games do not have power loss. Right? PCBs does have power loss, but it's very minimal. Because, like, the other thing about PCB, you die, you cap a spell, you're back to full. Right? You die twice in a row, you cap 1, maybe 2 spells, you're back to full. Right? The problem is here's visualization. If I die to Sanyo Midnon I might not hit 4.0 before the main boss. But more important, if I die to Sanyo's main boss, I don't hit max power until after stage 4 spam. So if I die on Sanyo, the opening on stage 4 is worse. The next section is worse, but that doesn't matter. And the stage 4 spam, the yellow spam, is worse. Like, you're punished that far ahead. Like, there are points where, like, the death is not the most consequential for power loss. An example is Yin Yang Divine Orbs, because that one specifically drops so much power. It's not quite a full power drop, but it's close. One of Megumi's last, it's either her second last spell or her last spell is also pretty generous with power dropping. But, like, the other problem with dying is not like, oh, you know, just you're short a little bit, but it's how long it takes to build back. And what really adds up with that is just, you know, and then if you die again, you're just even further behind. Like, there are the big power drops, which give you a 0.5 power in this game, which are big, but those are really scattered throughout, and if you die at, like, a weird interval, then you lack power for so long in this game. And then if you die again, it just accelerates that problem. Again, a lot of, like, not every, again, like Subterranean and Mountain of Faith, you die, you're back at full power, it doesn't matter. Like, it sucks that you die, it kind of kills your momentum a little bit. We're standing at 3.0 power as possible. Actually, originally I was having better luck with it at 3.0 than 4.0, although that was just, you know, coinky. That's just a coincidence. It's just the combination of doing so many things at, like, a lower power threshold. Like, some things it's worse. Stage 3 spam being, like, the biggest kicker in this game at a lower power, but it definitely adds up with a lot of things. But the problem is, it just, like, increases that threshold of dying just a little bit. And when you do that for so many things, and then you die that second time... Because, again, a lot of games, if you die a second time in like, a fairly short time span, it does suck, but, like, it's not, like, again, PCB, the second death in PCB isn't super consequential, because generally you make up all of it in, like, one spell, like, both the first and the second death in one spell card. But in this game, not only do you not make up a single death in a spell card, you don't even make it up in, like, 3. Unless it's something like Divine Orbs. I want to show off the green spam visualization with 4.0 to 3.0. Okay, well, I died, so I can do that right now. But, like, a big example of the difference in power is like right here in one of the more consequential sections for it, where because each of these fairies shoots a certain number of times. So as is with 4.0 power, if you watch any individual fairy, you're probably seeing it get off 2 waves. Maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe a 3rd wave, depending on positional situations, sometimes all 4 waves. I believe they shoot a max with 4 waves. But, like, a fairly average count, because, like, this first one, I'll kill these early guys pretty quickly, and then the homing. You know, I'm letting these guys, you know, get a couple waves off a piece, probably. Watch individual fairies, see how many waves they shoot. Right? But if we put myself at, you know, any 3 power interval, we can notice right off the bat, it takes me longer to kill some of these early guys. Well, I killed those first 2 guys immediately, so it's not the biggest deal. But the average kill time increases, so you just get that additional wave. And with how kind of slow-ish moving the ladder bullets in any given wave are, it really just scales up how many more bullets you get you have to deal with. It makes the dodging that much worse. This section's also bad enough because as Reimu, you really want to be unfocused to let the homing go through. But if you you want to focus to make it easier to dodge, so you also end up in that weird shit. Also, I just did 3.0 power, so it must be free. The game is very punishing on its... Like, again, it's the problem of, like, not only is it punishing with power loss, but it's really punishing with its power drops. And not every section is equal. You can go into stage 5, 3.0 power, and it's not that big of a deal. Like there are a number of sections where the difference between having 3.0, not a big deal. You die late on Misumaru. Yeah, you go into stage 5 with 3.0 power again. Whatever. Not a tragedy. The early section of stage 5 is very fine, even with slightly less power. The fox isn't any different because you're not speed killing her. You're trying to time her down. And I think you usually will have max power before the yellow section. Anyway. So, it's just... And if not, you know, that section would be a little worse, but... The yellow section... Oops. The yellow section is difficult, but it's not as hard as a lot of things in this game. And, like, even Mega Move, like, I've done 3.0 Mega Moves. Going into stage 6 at, like, a very low power interval is a complete death sentence. I think 3.0 is fine. I'm not for sure. I think 2.0 going into stage 6 is just disastrous. I think 3.0 can be fine. But it could be a little awkward. Kamada herself is not the most punishing boss to die to. You drop the 3.0 power, not the end of the world. But like Sanyo and Misumaru just being as bad as they are. It is a bit of a unique position at times, where again, with something like Moth, you don't have the power loss issue at all. I actually don't know if I actually don't know if you max out immediately in Mountain of Faith, but the fact that in Mountain of Faith with your damage output, 5.0 and 4.0 are the exact same. So I don't know if you go straight to full, but even if you don't, the fact that you know, at most you drop to like 4.95 or something, and it's still effectively being maxed out. And I'm pretty sure in Subterranean, if you die, you still go back to full. Or to like whatever you were. And again, PCB does have power loss, but it's minimal. I've just had to see Moko, you will be going there shortly. This run goes all the way. It's just a combined how the run today. Practice has been fine. Kind of the same as yesterday. Practice was really good yesterday. It's just the stage 6 of stage 3 is just farming me as of late. But it is what it is. It's the nature of the type of grind in this game. Yeah, and it's one thing that makes this game a UFO like problem is like not only do they have the bad power loss, but they're also very hard games as a whole. Right, having painful power loss does make a game harder, but if the game isn't to the extreme market, then there's a little bit of separation there. I don't know most games' power loss specifics off the top of my head. I know USD, PCB, Mountain of Faith, Subterranean, this game pretty well. And UFO, because it gets talked about in a similar category. I'm not the most familiar with every game in that regard, though. I guess I should do what I was doing before and hit the power at the end of stage 3. So that doesn't fix the problem of dying multiple times to stage 3, but it does fix the problem of dying once to stage 3. Although, if you die early enough in stage 3, it doesn't really matter. Holy edge. Also, doesn't help that it's just been a long week. Both sleep-wise and like work-wise, around. Hey, you know what? It happens. I knew going into this game, not just this game, but as a whole, you know, you gotta be in it for the long haul. Right? Stern will and unfailing determination. Right? You don't truly lose the game unless you give up. You don't truly lose. The only time the game truly beats you is when you give up. If it wasn't such a treacherous grind, then it wouldn't be as fulfilling a grind. Ooh, yeah. I played way too aggressive there. Okay, move on. Take what we got, move on. Go see some Moko. I really doubt she's gonna be as sexy as Kaguya was, but I've been wrong before.